Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gotta Get Running. I'm Phil Hargis. It's good to see you again. Alongside me is Pacers Running Stores Chris Farley. Chris, good to see you again.
What's up, man?
Not much, man. We got this, as we tape this show, we're on the eve of a potential historical, not a historic storm, but like a big snowstorm here in Washington, D.C. So it's pretty exciting. Ready to go out there and do some blizzard running.
I'm over the weather. It hurts shoe sales, but you know, at least there are a lot of people still getting out there. But
Chris, you can't say you're over the weather because we have a special guest here today.
Yeah, we are excited. Maybe he can shed some light on this, what's going on with this weather. We do have a couple special guests, and let's introduce him now. From Fox 5, Tucker Barnes.
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Tucker.
Thank you, Phil.
And also from Crunch Fitness. And she's going to go by one name. It's Nikolai. Nicola. And I messed that up earlier.
This is great.
I messed that up earlier. I knew I was going to mess it up. Sorry. But thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, now before we get started, I mean, let's talk about running in weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
You run every day?
I do. I run
nothing holds you back, right?
Every day. I did take my first day off in 3 years with this polar vortex or whatever that thing was.
Right, because it was like zero.
It was zero, but
Yeah,
generally I do run every day. I mean, if you gear up with the right stuff, it's usually, you know, you can accommodate this climate because it doesn't get to zero that often. But yeah, absolutely. I run every day. Hopefully you run in this weather too.
A little here and there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've got, you know, I don't have the discipline that
Right.
it sounds like the two of you have.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get a little bit of running in here and there, but I've got to pick it up the pace a little bit. So I got a question. I'm going to let you interview me. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But when you guys are out running, I mean, what's kind of weather to run in? Like hot and humid, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually prefer, and I know you do too, I prefer the zero temperatures to some of the stuff we get in mid-July. And that's
the 100-degree weather, down on the Potomac, the humidity, and the high dew points are just killers.
Yeah, because your body can't, you know, drop that heat.
Yeah, I mean,
especially my body type, Tucker.
Listen, I have just heard about how much these two run. I do not belong here on the panel. I just want to be real clear about that right now. I do not belong here by any means.
No, you can definitely gear up. I mean, you go into Chicago and other places that get really cold, then you have to start talking about indoor running on the treadmill. But I generally say you can run outside, you know, 364 days out of the year, 300. I mean, almost every single day of the year here.
And I ran on that cold day. It's like once you get outside the door and you get past the first minute or two of like being ice cold, you're fine. I mean, your water bottle top will freeze closed.
Yeah.
But then you have to keep the run shorter.
What's your favorite kind of running weather?
Probably May when it's like 50, 60.
I'm looking forward to May. I am looking forward to May.
I am not going to run when it's 20.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're a fitness instructor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer indoors, warm.
Well, Tucker is training for the Rock and Roll USA marathon or half marathon.
Okay, so
We're not
here's the deal in my case. And again, I'm an amateur runner. Let's make that very clear from the beginning. I don't have a lot of experience running. I did run the half the last 2 years. The first year I ran, I was looking for the metro stage.
Right.
I got to be honest, at like mile number 7, I was this close. If people hadn't been encouraging me to sneak off and hit that metro and just take it to the end to RFK. So, I mean, I'm like one of those kind of runners. But, I mean, I love it, but, you know, I just don't have the time. And it takes a lot of energy and discipline, too, for that matter, to, you know, get out there and run those kind of miles.
Well, we've seen you on Fox 5, and you generally are up for anything. My favorite thing that you did was the sea foam a couple years ago. Was that your favorite? Was that the top?
Hurricane Irene. Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a lot of... what's the word I'm looking for?
I mean,
notoriety for that. Yeah. So I mean, it was memorable. Listen, anytime I get an opportunity to be out in weather, it's kind of like running in weather. You know, if I get an opportunity to be in weather, I will sign up for it immediately. Anytime a hurricane or a big snowstorm comes through the area, sign me up. I want to get outside and experience it. You know, much like running outside. You know, it's. Weather and the planet's beautiful, and it's pretty cool to get to have those kind of experiences. Yeah, but that was a very memorable one. Certainly got a lot of play on the internet. We'll leave it at that.
No doubt.
Now, another thing he likes to do is he likes to train with Nicola here. He also, so Nicola, why don't you tell us about some of the training that he's been doing to get ready for the Rock and Roll?
Other than running stuff, right?
No, before she starts. Sorry to interrupt you. All right. So I've run the last couple of years, But this year I thought I would take it to the next level and maybe do you guys do any core training?
Absolutely. I think it's critical in your training. Yeah.
Okay, well, we can talk more about that because I've done none. so
Tucker doesn't know how to cross train.
Okay.
I think, like I was telling you guys earlier, he's done the same 3 exercises ever since I met him.
But I did them pretty well.
No, you did them terribly. Bench press, lat pull down, and the slant board, and he does them completely wrong. And every day I would say to Tucker, please let me train you. Please let me show you how it's done right. So finally, he comes in the gym and he's like, all right, I'm ready to train. I'm ready to do this. So we did everything that he was not used to. And the next day he texted me and he was like, I have never been so sore in my entire life.
So why is this stuff important for runners?
Well, as you know, if you don't cross train, you're going to get injured. So we're trying to prevent some injuries that he potentially could get because he's never done a full marathon before. So if he wants to take that extra step, we want to make sure that he can stand at the weatherboard the next day. I mean, we don't want him to.
Yeah, I was kind of short armed. I'm like,
So basically, my job is just to make sure he just doesn't get injured. He's never stretched before.
Is it going to make me stronger and faster? Am I going to be able?
You're probably not going to be faster, but it's definitely going to make you stronger.
So, I mean, will I actually complete this year and, with a smile on my face rather than one?
Not a smile, but you'll definitely complete. You'll probably have tears in your eyes knowing you.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So you're signed up for the half marathon.
Signed up for the half. I'm halfway committed to doing the full.
Okay.
I've never run a full before.
Right.
I've run a half twice, and last year was a little bit cooler. I ran it 2 years ago, and the warm temperatures seemed to get to me. Last year I felt like I felt better, maybe because it was my second time doing it, but I would like to take it to the next level, but so far in my training I've only gotten to about 8 or 10 miles, so I'm not sure I'm ready for it yet.
So you didn't go out there that day and then see how you feel at the turn, like to keep going?
No. I'm going to have to turn it up here the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If it's too cold for me, well, then I'll just go home and watch TV. There's like Weather Channel. There's all kinds of important things for me to watch. So.
Well, it
sounds to me like he has a Metro fare card in his pocket. There you go for any occasion.
He's planning other strategies.
Well,
let's put it like that.
I would. So here we sit on February 11th. The race is March 15th downtown. For most people, I would say it's not the best idea to think about doing the full marathon about a month and a week out if you've only done 10
I need
miles.
your advice.
But
share it with me.
But someone like, and we've talked earlier before we went on air here, is that you've done a lot of working out in the gym, and you've done a lot of cross training. You're in the gym 5 days a week or 5 days a week, and he's running 3 times a week. So someone with that capacity probably could handle it. But like you said, I'm not sure you're going to handle it with a smile on your face unless you ramp up that long run, in the next couple weeks.
So give me some advice.
So here's another idea too, and I'm going to jump in too, Chris, here, because we had a couple years ago we had Jeff Galloway on the show, and one thing he does is sort of this run walk method. Now, if you wanted to get through the full 26, that's an option.
Yeah.
What were you thinking, Chris?
Yeah, I think that's definitely potential, and you want to plan those walk breaks where all right, I'm going to get to this mile, and then I'm going to walk for a half mile, and then I'm going to get to this mile or this time, and then walk, and have those planned out. But I do think if you can ramp up your long run, and again, I generally don't recommend this for people who are just off the couch, but someone who's active. And
I'm in pretty good shape. I'm not in marathon shape.
We've seen him on Fox 5 doing crazy stuff.
He is in good shape.
Yeah, so he's in good shape.
His body awareness is a little iffy, and he could learn how to stretch a little bit better.
But you've been getting him
that's
there.
what I've been there for.
You've been getting him close.
We've been working on that
So
a
I would
lot.
say if he could do 15 miles this next weekend, and then an 18 to 20 miler the following weekend, and be able to walk the next day, you can run the full marathon. So I would say, though, that you want to get that last long run. Generally, people say 3 weeks out is ideal, but you can really do it 2 weeks out. That's a little secret from me. You can do them 2
You
weeks
guys are pretty serious runners, obviously.
Yeah.
At what point do you get the runner's high that I've been hearing about?
Let me just let you in on that myth. It really doesn't exist. The runner's high happens when the race is over. And you feel really good about what you did.
And the first beer is in your hand.
Yeah. No, I actually do feel like I get the runner's high, but it's just over the long period of time of consistent and running. For me every day, and then you feel the sense of accomplishment, and you get in a rhythm, and you feel like, I feel kind of like I don't feel myself if I don't do my run, is the point that I get to, and that's my runner's high. So, it is a little bit of a myth, though. But I would say back to your marathon, I would encourage you to do the marathon since you've done it, the half marathon twice. and the fact that you have been working out pretty diligently with her, and I think that you can handle it, but I don't recommend people to do the marathon if they haven't run over 15 miles.
Okay.
So just a 10-mile long run, that's not going to get it done. But if you go
Can I
over
just
that,
mention briefly, last year when I ran the half marathon, you know, it splits at the end there at
Right,
RFK
right.
with the have and have-nots. I snuck off there on the half, very happily, by the way. But I was so impressed with the number of 60, and it looked to me like 70-year-olds that kept going.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal how many people who are, you know, as they get older are in great shape if they run a full marathon.
Yeah.
Because I had nothing left to give at 13.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. And you got to be careful about looking around and seeing people, because you're thinking, wow, I'm much better shape than her. And
Oh, yeah.
she's 60 years old. How is she next
Let
to me?
me just
And,
mention,
I mean,
last year I got passed by somebody that I didn't think could walk past me.
Right.
On
They
a
ran past you.
yeah, and he just ran right past me like it was nothing.
Yeah, the running, your amount of running capacity you have is based on years and years of consistency. So if you don't have the years and years of consistency, runners come in all shapes and sizes, and it's really important to have that, you know, consistent base of running. And when you get that, you can finish a marathon and maybe not look like the slimmest, sleekest runner out there, but you can finish it and finish it pretty fast.
Okay, should I be concerned that last year when I finished the half marathon, the gentleman that won the full marathon was crossing the finish line at about the same time as me?
Yes.
Was that Mike Ward?
Yeah. No, don't be concerned about that, because he is a world class.
Okay,
So
all right.
that's just fine.
Okay, then I feel a little better.
Yeah. But good, yeah. So we hope to see him in the full marathon. So if you guys at home, let's tweet him or something. Let's encourage Tucker to do this full marathon, please, because
Tucker
I really,
Fox 5.
Tucker,
Tweet me and encourage me.
tweet
Right.
him. Like, let's get him going for the full marathon, because he's done the half marathon twice. I think the full marathon's in the cards for this year.
Oh, I don't want to. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love to be able to tell people I ran a full marathon. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
that's
it's a great sense
it's quite
of
an accomplishment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I think we should put the full court pressure on you right now to, like, you know, think about doing it, give it serious thought to doing it. It's a good flat, you know, course to do it, and it's a great first marathon.
Okay. Well,
So
good. Well,
you're encouraging me to want to go out there and run it now too.
So tell me, what's the best marathon in Washington to run? Is it the Marine Corps?
Yeah, well, the Marine Corps Marathon, so this is maybe a trick question. The Marine Corps Marathon runs in Arlington and Washington, D.C. So the Rock and Roll USA is the only marathon all in D.C. So that would qualify as the best marathon in D.C.
I guess I meant in the area.
But yeah, I mean, I love both those events. To me, being an Arlingtonian, I love Marine Corps, and it's been, you know, over 30 years that Marine Corps has been there. You know, the Rock and Roll USA takes you through some pretty cool parts of DC, especially that second half. So if you haven't run the second half of the marathon, it runs you in some pretty unique core DC neighborhoods, and the energy that the residents give you is pretty unique and awesome.
I love the experience last year with it. People coming out and banging on pots and pans and cheering everybody on. It wasn't because, you know, I'm at Fox 5. They're cheering every runner on, which is fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt. And that happens, you know, mostly throughout the first half of the course, but definitely on the second half of the course, you get some real core DC neighborhoods that are pretty neat.
All right, I'm not meaning to interview you guys. I apologize.
No,
Set it up that way, but I don't mean to. Tell me about, like, triathlons. Do I want to dip into swimming and cycling? Do you guys do that too?
That's not me personally.
No, I actually went the opposite direction. I went from the marathon to like ultra marathons.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
went
did you?
in that direction. So I'm doing 50 Ks and 50 milers now.
That's.
I'm biased, but I think the cross training that you're doing is good enough. The other stuff, I think, could build you up. Swimming and biking could build you up for running. That's me personally. You know, I'm biased with the running side of it, but I believe that you know, pure simple running is the best way to go. You get more bang for your buck. To me, I know you can get your heart rate up swimming, you can get your heart rate up biking as well, but to me, you get more bang for your buck running. So that's been, you know, that's been what we've tried to teach and coach at the stores, and you know, there's been a lot of growth in the triathlon market, and it's a great area too. But there's nothing like finishing a marathon. The accomplishment of the marathon is pretty incredible.
So what kind of shoes are you running in, Tucker? Do you have a shoe that you train in that you've been using for a while, or that you're committed
Well, I
to?
have my Weatherman shoes, but those are not officially for training.
I was going to ask you about
very
those.
clear about those.
Yeah.
Those are specially made,
Yeah.
and they give me special weather forecasting powers, so I have to be careful not to kind of overuse those. Why don't you tell my shoe story?
Yeah.
So the first time I met Tucker, we had our first session. He brings these shoes, and I didn't even know what they were. And he told me that they were to help him, give him special powers during our session.
These were the Weatherman shoes.
These are the Weatherman shoes.
And you can look those up online. You can find out.
They're
you can
totally
find those.
online.
Yeah.
But I didn't even have words to express how incredibly strange it was that somebody had brought special shoes so they wouldn't get sore. And did they help you through your session?
The Weatherman shoes were fantastic, yeah. She's since lectured me about my shoes, and apparently I didn't have the right kind of shoes, and they were kind of old.
Yeah.
They were very old.
It's very, very important to replace your shoes and at least every 6 months or 400 miles,
Really?
whatever comes first.
So it's like changing oil?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
All right, well, let me just admit right now, I have just recently
You're delinquent in
changed my shoes.
that? Yeah.
Only because she made me, because
Right,
Yeah.
well, that's
my shoes are
good.
a couple years old.
But certainly you don't want to run in the basketball variety of shoes, which
No.
those Weatherman shoes
Oh, yeah, those
look
are too
like.
heavy.
Yeah,
They're
those are
terrible.
way too heavy. Light, sleeker. There's a lot of that fit your profile. There's a lot of real fitting that goes into finding the right running shoe, and it's critical because every time you step down, it's 3 or 4 times your body weight. You want to make sure that you're running in the correct shoe and not getting injured, which you've been fortunate enough that
you get a lot of wear
done.
and tear, I guess,
Yeah.
if you're running
Yeah.
in the wrong shoe.
Yeah.
And tell Tucker how important it is you want to run in different shoes versus train and weightlift in other shoes.
Absolutely.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So you don't want to wear the same. So I'm sorry, you don't want to wear the same shoes.
You know what this running thing's costing me
I
right
know.
now?
Hey. You don't want to wear the same shoes that you actually run in and also work out in, because it's going to beat down the midsole of the shoe, and it's so critical to have the fresh cushioning when you're out running, because again, every time you're striking down, you're bounding down. It's 3 or 4 times your body weight. And that,
Pressure.
that pressure is going to stress your shins, your knees, your hips, and it's such. I mean, running is such a great cardiovascular activity, but there is a lot of wear and tear that can go into it. So it's critical that you replace your shoes and make sure that you have a relatively fresh new pair on race day, especially if you're doing the 26.2.
So I have a question for the trainer
Yeah.
and for you guys.
Yeah.
How about those crazy, I don't even know what they're called, glove shoes? Those things work?
Yeah, the Vibrams, yeah, they have really dipped a lot recently. So I would be very careful about running in those. I don't know if you've seen them, people coming in the gym. With
People
them.
ask me about them all the time. I personally am not a fan of them.
Yeah.
I think they're better for weightlifting because you can
Yeah.
feel the floor. So there's a push and a pull. So when you're lifting weights, you can push into the floor and feel the floor better versus like a thicker sole shoe. But for running, I don't think that there's enough support personally in them. But every person's different, everyone's body's different. For me, I don't.
And to your point about changing and diversifying your footwear a little bit, maybe that's a very short distance shoe that you'd go out and run a couple miles on the grass in or something like that. But we're just going to try to get you out. We're not talking about getting you out 5 or 6 days. We want you to do 3 to 4 core days and not necessarily look at doing the other little things. We'll do the other little things in the gym. So I would wear the more traditional running shoe that's fit for your foot. And I think that's going to be your best bet when you're trying to run a marathon.
All right, and how about as far as dressing? Now, I, again, don't want to get too technical.
Yeah.
But some of my friends who run longer distance say that they get kind of chapped. Is that happen to people?
This is a really good. This is a good question for running 101.
Yeah, I mean, I think all you need there is a first aid kit and pull a Band-Aid out. Take one off one side, boom, the other one off the
Does that happen to both genders, or how's that work?
Not as much. I mean, the sports bras generally can.
Because let me just be very clear. If I'm going to get chapped, I'm not running any full marathon. I'm going to quit as soon as things start to get irritated.
Okay, here's what you do. And this is for all the new runners out there.
Okay.
Have you gotten that chapped or
No,
chafed?
I've heard chapping stories.
Okay.
And immediately I'm like, okay, well, if I'm chapping, I'm done.
Oh, man.
You definitely want to wear Body Glide. Body Glide is a deodorant stick type. It looks like a deodorant stick. You lube that up pretty. It's a Vaseline type material, but it doesn't stick like Vaseline. It's critical, and the runners out there know that. I mean, the runners who've run a number of races.
But you should tell people like me, because I just
Yeah.
heard stories about
so
it.
So we need to lube your nipples up pretty good here,
Okay.
lube up between your legs, underneath your arms, all that stuff. It's critical.
And Chris, we're not going to demonstrate
No,
that. on
no,
this
no.
show.
I'm not going to be there for race day unless you ask me.
He's gonna like walk around like this.
No, but it's critical to have that Body Glide, because nothing is worse than being out on the course and knowing I could kind of feel it, or I could kind of feel this blister coming on, and I've got 18 miles to go.
And it's good to know when you do these races too, if you do feel that coming on while you're out there in the race, that any of the 8/10s will have Vaseline for you to
Vaseline, yeah.
go ahead and give yourself. And
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if
Yeah.
they'll apply it for you, but you'd have to be in pretty big
Yeah.
trouble for that. But
Yeah.
So this is a common.
Oh, absolutely.
issue. Okay.
Yeah. So I ran. Be careful about that. Be careful about the Vaseline. I ran with Cakes from 106.7 The Fan on the Sports Junkies, one of Tucker's buddies here. I ran with him the 2009 Marine Corps Marathon, and he was about mile 22 or so, and was kind of you get a little bit delusional at that point of the race.
Really?
And he saw, somebody handing something that looked like a gel or some sort of nutritional, and he grabbed it, and I said, no! And as he grabbed it, he put it in his mouth, and it was a vat of Vaseline he was eating. So that, you got to be
So that
very,
explains a lot about what's been happening there.
yeah, we got to get Cakes back running. But he grabbed a vat of Vaseline and tried to eat it and spit it out, and I think he would have broken 3:30 had he not done that. But yeah, there is Vaseline on the course.
Okay.
So that's critical.
Any other hazards I need to know about?
You
before I
need
go
to.
in?
You need
Well,
to.
Do I need a bathroom break, or can I make it to the whole way?
He talked about his running uniform. So there's porta potties out there, but you're heading to the trees out there in the races
you can
most of the time.
definitely.
But as far as what you wear in the race, now a lot of the fun part about running these marathons and these races here in DC is that people get dressed up in costumes.
Sure.
Now I know that you're into the ballet thing. Would you consider wearing a tutu when you run the rock?
Very, very clever. All right, Phil. Yes, I did wear a tutu once, but I'm not anticipating that I'm going to need to wear a tutu this go around.
Yeah.
But if it gives me extra buoyancy or a little extra speed, I'll consider whatever it takes.
And they have a nice selection over at Pacers too.
The women's side, yes. But
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would say you're going to wear something comfortable, light, and it's generally at March 15th, for those who are running the Rock and Roll USA, I would say, you're the expert on the weather, but I would say you're going to want to have shorts and at least a light long sleeve short, or probably a short sleeve shirt. Weather-wise there, what are we talking? March 15th?
Speaking for last year, it's pretty cold.
Yeah.
The average daytime high probably in the maybe low 50s.
Low 50s.
So it can often be rainy in the middle of March.
Yeah, so I would say
Rainy.
have shorts and maybe have a top that you can find, your trainer who's going to be out watching you. Toss the top to her, maybe, 10 miles in or so, and you can run the rest of the way.
Now you guys are of course pretty hardcore runners. Do you do a lot of core training as well?
Yeah, I do. I think it's critical. I do it twice a week. I have a personal trainer myself, and I do stability training, core training,
that what I'm
balancing.
doing? You do a
That's all the
ton of
stuff,
that.
and it
That's all
keeps you
you've been
healthy.
doing.
And that's probably the reason why it sounds like you've been pretty relatively healthy, even though you've had terrible shoes. You've still been pretty healthy.
terrible
I mean, that's.
You think my shoes are terrible? You should see my diet.
Yeah. Really bad.
So I do think that it is good to do, supplement it. It's not going to get you all the way. Like I said, if you're going to run the marathon, we need you to do 15 miles and at least an 18 to 20 miler beforehand. So you cannot depend on the cross training and the work that you do at Crunch to be to take you through that last few miles. There's nothing to supplement running. Running is the best thing for running a marathon. You can't fake it to do
So
something.
let me just make this clear, because it looks like we only have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
If I run a full marathon, my nipples are going to shave. I'll likely hallucinate.
We were to recap.
I could possibly swallow a vat of Vaseline.
Try
Sounds like it's an opportunity I don't want to miss out on.
I guarantee you it's going to be the best thing you do all year.
Really?
I guarantee you. If you finish the marathon, free shoes for life if it's not. Guarantee you. Is that on tape?
You better do this.
Yeah. I seriously, it's going to be the best thing, unless you have kids this year or something like that. But it is such an emotionally awesome experience, and out on course with everybody, the energy and all that. It's just you've done the half and you've experienced how great it is, but the full marathon is that next level. It's awesome.
And it might take you a day or two after you finish to feel that way. When I first finished Marine Corps, you know, I was like, all right, that was cool. That wasn't that bad. But then, like a couple days later, it was
48
always,
hours.
Yeah, I was walking across the Key Bridge into Georgetown, and it's like I just ran that whole town. It was like a pretty awesome feeling.
Yeah. All right. You guys are encouraging me.
So yeah, I mean, you know, you don't know how many shots you're going to actually have to run an actual full marathon. So I would encourage you. The opportunity is there. Again, let's tweet him. It's Tucker Barnes Fox.
Tucker Fox 5.
See, I messed up your name. Let's tweet him and let's encourage him to do the full marathon. We're going to follow up with him. Got to get running. We'll follow up with him and make sure.
I don't like the pressure that I'm going to feel here. And I do know every metro stop in Washington, so at any point I can bail.
Let's cheer him on along the course, and you'll have a lot of people out there, like we said before, and they really can carry you that last few miles.
What's a good goal for a full marathon for somebody who's never run before?
Well, I was just going to ask you what your goal was for the half marathon, and then we can give you an idea.
Yeah,
what
my
your
goal
for the
always
full would be.
consists every year of finishing.
Finishing?
Yeah.
What was your time last year?
I did it under 2 hours, like hour 50 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, you double that and add 30 minutes. So
4:30, 4:20.
Yeah, 420 would be definitely reasonable for you.
Good
Do
number.
that.
Yeah.
I think he can do it personally.
See, so the
He just has
expert
to
here-
ramp that.
Is he
as
mentally
running.
tough?
Yeah, he
Good
actually
question.
really is. He really is. I'll say this: I'm a pretty hard trainer, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't put up with a lot of.
Guff?
Yeah.
Flack?
Yeah. No, I don't. But Tucker's pretty tough, but he's just got to get the running in.
Yeah.
I mean, he does everything that I ask him to. So now he's not. Yeah. Don't flatter yourself.
I'm all sorry.
Yeah, you are. I mean, he does sweat. He is tired when we're done.
So we're not going to make Tucker make a commitment right now, but the pressure.
I mean,
the
I've
pressure
already
is on right
promised
now.
him
Pressure's
free
building.
shoes for life,
Yeah,
and I
he'll
mean,
do it.
I'll run
Let me
the
just tell you, with that offer, I'm going to come in no matter what and be like, that sucks.
No, I will run the 15 and 18 miler with you. I'd be happy to help out. You've got a great support system, which it definitely takes.
And I do want to thank Nicola. She's been great to me and you know, supporting me and to really get into good shape because I traditionally have not been more than just, you know, go run on the treadmill for a couple miles.
Well, obviously, Nicola,
That's
it takes
what
a lot of work to train this guy.
It does. It does.
Hey, Nicola, I wanted to thank you for coming on the show
Thanks
tonight.
for having us.
And Tucker, obviously, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank
Good
you.
luck
I'm
in your
honored. Thank you.
marathon.
Yeah, for getting in touch with me. I'll keep everybody posted, and yeah, you can tweet me, and I promise I'll be at the store to get my free shoes after the run.
So that's good. That sounds like he's in.
He's committed.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, guys, for watching Nicola and Tucker and Chris and I on Gotta Get Running tonight, and we'll see you guys next time on Gotta Get Running. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.